Watch what happens when I build this pupil.
Okay, I'm quite happy at the moment with that, but I do need to get... So it's a brown dog, border collie, but I want to try and just get some of these sections in totally different shades of brown, just so I can see where I'm going. As the artwork progresses, it will they'll all blend together anyway, but right now I just need to be seeing what's going on. So last night I dreamt, or early hours actually, I dreamt that this piece of artwork, which I'd already plotted out, had this big flower at the top. I had a quick gander around the internet, as you do, and found that the Echinacea has the leaf, or the petal, sorry, that goes downwards. This is the last affirmation card of this series. This series is the growing around the ache, which is all part of light through the shadows. Although it's nice to come to an end, it felt a little bit daunting this morning of, wow, I've been doing these for months. I don't know whether you've seen any of the other videos, but there's a whole series of them. So the dog got left till last, and of course it did. It's, you know, a dog's a man's best friend, isn't it? And we all love our dogs, so it got the honour of being the final one because it's cute. We did the cat last week, which also was cute. Well, that's a nice bright colour start, isn't it? I'm quite happy with the way that's looking already. So this month I dreamt of when I went back to sleep. So it's one of those sort of daydreamy things about putting this picture in. And the nearest flower to what I imagined was the Echinacea. Now I've just looked up the symbolic meaning of Echinacea. Only because, you know, if anyone's done these cards with me, you know I'm a bit of an angel number, symbolic meanings of everything, the animals, everything. I'd like to know if there's a hidden meaning. Well, this one couldn't have been placed. It's one of those mornings, actually. It couldn't have been placed better. It says, Echinacea. I'm going to read this because I'll forget, okay? Sorry. So Echinacea is linked to physical and emotional healing, acting as a shield against negativity. And if I'm honest, I actually was. I woke up quite negative this morning and I was trying to fight the negativity, and hence I was just lying there and I sort of thought, right, just try and go back to sleep for a while, see if you can sleep it off. How strange is that? Have you ever done anything like that? Do you ever go back to sleep in the morning and then dream of something quite significant? I know I've done it a few times in the last few years of not having Bob around. So if you have had something like that happen, leave a comment, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. So I'm just going to go around this dog now and get some of this nice hair effect in. I do like a border collie, couldn't think what it was called then. They're such a lovely dog, lovely friendly dog, working dog as well. So yeah, when I saw this one that's brown, I didn't want a black one because we had too much black in this card deck, that I didn't want to do another brown painting. So I just thought, when I saw the brown one, it had to be this one. I'll be very tidy with my painting today, but it's only the first coat, it'll all sort itself out. Once we get into a bit of pen work, which no doubt I shall do later on. The eyes will just slowly build up into layers as we go along. Dog is one of those creatures, it can sense whether you're upset or you're sad, even if it's not your dog. It still can pick up on it. I was at my daughter's whilst the funeral of my friend went on. I couldn't go to the funeral, it was too close to Rob dying when she died, but I watched it on the telly. It was only me and the dog. I would watch it at my daughter's, not at my house, because I knew it would be upsetting. But you know, Max, bless him, he knew I was upset and he just sat with me. He kept looking at me, but sat with me. Do you have a dog that's helped you through this? I do like it when they've got long, loose hair. It's it leaves a lot of freedom and movement, which is great. I'll just try and get the pupil bit on the outside a little bit more defined. Maybe we'll go on the outside to start with, as that's the nice brown. I just dried my brush off there. I'm just going to drag some of that out slightly so it's not a harsh line there. It's a little wash over it, but I need to wait for that to dry. When you're doing these circle bits, just take your time. Sometimes we've just got to slow up and make sure we're getting that round shape in. And just darken up that nose as well with my water. It's a funny little angle. I think that's what I liked about it actually, it was a funny little angle. Be careful I don't actually just blend that too much. Just needed to be a bit darker with the colour. It's just like every other bit of any animal, it all has to be built up slow layers. The eyes just needed to be a little bit brighter underneath. I'll build some of those colours up on top. So there's a lot going on in there. So this is the back end of the dog here is actually quite hazy. Here actually again it's a bit hazy. Put these markings in, I can get rid of the pencil lines then. Quite a lot of darkness around that part of its nose as well. I just need to, it's got confused in with all the leaves on it. So I need to just make sure I know what's dog and what's greenery, and then we can identify it fully. Right, so I'm going to go more into these eyes. I've rubbed out the pencil lines because I think sometimes they're a little bit distracting. But another thing that happened this morning, and honestly it's been a really funny morning. I read an article and so much in it was relatable to me and to the grief journey that I've been on, and no doubt you're one as well, I'm assuming anyway. It's all about if we don't move, if we don't do something, then we get nowhere, and we can sit. And I thought, yeah, it's true that we either sit in the grief and let it really take hold, or we do our best to move in it and let the layers of protection around it grow. I don't know how you feel about that. Even doing this, I question myself and I think, why am I even doing this? What's this all about? Is it helping people? Will it help people? But you know, if I hadn't taken some movement, some steps to doing something, the grief would have got the better of me. Not starting something is easy. Starting something, I know it's fearful. What made me scared? Very scared. And it's quite, in some ways, mad. But it's scared of what people's reactions are. It's scared of people. That's mad, isn't it? I think because I was left here on my own, originally getting out, I had to be out of the house. It was just awful. I couldn't cope with the silence. I couldn't cope with the emptiness. I was forever trying to find people to talk to because there was only me. Where were you in all of that? Have you found something to do? Or maybe you went back to work. The problem I found, what I had, was the fact that my business, my job, one had already taken one heck of a hit with the all the lockdowns, but also Rob was a big part of the business, and I couldn't run all the business on my own. And it wasn't a time to be thinking of employing people. One, my mental health wasn't with it, and secondly, it wasn't a time to be taking people on because of what was going on in the world. My journey is a bit different in those respects, but I'm sure I'm not unique in that situation at all. Getting out and doing things, it helps you build the layers around the grief. It doesn't go away, but those layers are being built as you're facing up to all this fear of being alone. So light reflection in this eye. It's beautiful, but there's a little bit of working out on that pupil. just a few little thoughts about it yourself. With where are you sitting with this journey? Have you let fear take over? The one thing I found with me is I'm going to try that out. There's no planning. There's no worrying about whether it works or not, because that's always been my way. So that bit is probably slightly easier, because I'm just one of those get up and get on with it. Even starting this YouTube channel, I hadn't a clue what I was doing, but I just got on with it. If it didn't work, well, it didn't work. Give something a go rather than think you've got to have everything planned. I kind of really don't plan these affirmation cards. I don't have a script. You probably can tell I don't have a script because I get it wrong so many times. I just go for it. Editing's beautiful. It's amazing what you can do in an editing system. Once you've learned that, I think you absolutely rock in. It's a little bit strong, but I'll try softer. It's around this. Oh, let's get the shape in it. This is me supposed to be doing the eyeball actually right this minute, and I've got sidetracked to go on to the areas around the eye. So again, there's quite a big reflection going through this eye. Sometimes you can actually see what they're looking at by looking at the eyes. Sometimes you can almost see somebody in them. Put blue in there as well, which is a bit of sky that it's looking at. Still one like that. Yeah, blue in there as well. Eyes, you have to really take your time. I think that's slightly wrong there. Nice thing about watercolour, you can just lift it off again. Just glaze that over. Sometimes it's worth the glazing over all of it, because all that underneath will show through anyway. The sun's catching on this end. I'll just get that a bit brighter there. Let's get some of that actually into this flower head. It's quite blobby up there. That's what you call it. I have very technical terms in my artistic vocabulary. I'm sure you've noticed that. There's some really great shades, some rusty shades in this dog. I think it's lovely. I should have done it at autumn, shouldn't I? It's a very autumn colour. The flowers aren't always my thing, so you have to bear with me when I'm doing the flower. I just thought, because of the dream, for whatever reason, it was in my dream, I needed to put the flower in. Maybe it was because I was being a tad negative, and it was a reminder not to be. It's difficult sometimes not to be negative in all of this, isn't it? I don't think people always appreciate the challenge of suddenly being on your own, because there's so many things you have to learn to do, don't you? So many things, and you just think, why am I having to do this? Why am I having to learn this time in my life when you wouldn't normally? This blue doesn't want to be nice. I wanted it just as a bit of a shadow colour under there. Little spot markings in its nose. I'll just add a few of those in. It's like barely covered water that I'm doing this with, because obviously there is depth to that white. I'm just using a almost wash of anything that's on here now. It might be too wet to blend actually, but never mind, we'll just feed a little bit in there to start with. It's constantly going dark, isn't it? I haven't gone really everywhere was all the right colours as I've gone around, and then just kept going dark, darker, dark, which, sorry, that just didn't make sense. I do laugh at myself when I come back to the recording sometimes. Some of my little phrases, actually, they're not really part of the English dictionary. I think I make them up as I go along. That's the thing with watercolours, you have to, you just keep building the darks in. Just get some of these marks in, and then I'm going to strengthen this up against that face then. I just, mix all that amount, but really we need the tiniest amount of it at a time. I think they still come together pretty quickly, actually. Actually, I think I'm just going to put, before I start the grass, I'm going to put a little glaze over those eyes. I have to remember these ones actually go over the dog this time. Sometimes we have to allow for the opposite, but this time it's definitely over the dog. This video is pretty random. I'm not particularly copying anything as much as I know there's greenery there, and we just want it all leaf shaped. There'll be darks underneath, and there'll be some nice bright green ones as well. Use your brushes, even if you haven't got one that's shaped like mine. Use a flat brush and use the shape of the brush to make curves. You'll find it, you can make leaf shapes a lot easier than you imagine, just by letting your brush go round on angles. Just going to introduce, just because I've got so much on here now, just a little bit more into this background, and just maybe just brighten it a little bit. I need to get that dry. Pulls up water in the middle there. Sometimes it's good just to have some of these colours into the animal as well, because it just brings it a little bit together. Don't really want any white left at this stage. So I'm just going to start with this Echinacea. It just needs a little bit of a work to it. Although in my dream it was a red plant, Echinacea is pink. So I'm just going to do that as pink. I'm working upside down, which is making it easier in a way, but not in another way, because it looks upside down to me. Sorry, that's a bit of a waffle, wasn't it? So, how's your week been? Have you had a good week? Anything good happen? Nice to hear in the comments. I'm kind of doing a bit of a wash actually, really. I just think it needed the edges of the petals sorting, but it also needed a bit of life in it. It just looked a little bit flat. So I'm not going all over, I'm just going over part of it just to let some of those lighter areas come through, but strengthen the edges. I'm going to do some pen work on it, so that will clarify some of it as well. When we go to all this building our life after grief and that, there was actually two very lovely older ladies who lost their husbands many years earlier, like 9-10 years earlier, who were so kind in what they said to me. One of them, I looked up this course on art, painting for grief and that, or painting for healing, or whatever it was, something along those lines. But it said you had to decide how you're feeling that day, and then choose a word for it, and then you painted the word. Well, I got up one day, thought, oh, I'll have a go at this, and when I read it all, for love nor money could I think of a word. But actually, in the end, it stressed me out. I went for a walk, I couldn't think of one. I thought, this is madness. Though it was, beginning of the year when everything's a bit dead and there's no one around. And anyway, I don't live too far away from a place called Samiling, which is a Buddhist temple. And you can go up there and you can sit in the temple. So I thought, I'm going to go up, chill in the temple, and see if I can calm myself down from where I've got myself into a bit of a tiz over it all, and hopefully be able to decide on a word. But I couldn't. I went up, I sat in the temple for quite some time, and I didn't feel any better in any shape or form. So on my way back, I'd actually taken a flask, I'd taken my lunch, I could have had something there. It's a beautiful spot. But I just thought, you know what, there's a place called the Hub nearby. I'm going to go in there and have a coffee and be within, surrounded by people, if not with people. Because sometimes I find that is actually quite helpful. And off I went. Phew, I just flicked that and got water everywhere. Not on my picture, that's fine. Assuming, you know, beginning of the year, no one's going to be out that way. And of course there was somebody. And she's a lovely friend actually, to be honest. So I went in and there she was with her mum. And so I said hi, went and ordered a coffee and a scone and went and sat with them. And she introduced me to her mum as, hi, this is Chris. She lost her husband 2 years ago. And, well, I was already a bit of on the nice edge. Her mum was lovely. She just reached over and she said, I lost my husband 9 years ago. It's really hard, isn't it? And she said, will you come to ours for lunch? Maybe next week. So I did. She was the most helpful lady, apart from another customer who used to ring me. And she spoke to me. She said, do you talk to your husband? I was like, yes, I do. And she said, that's good. And she gave me a little passage to read about talking to your husband and how grief felt for the widow. And it all rang so true. Everything she spoke to me about that day was how I was feeling. And she made me feel so much more comfortable with myself. It was such a lovely thing to meet her. I want some of these outside edges just to blend a bit. I should have done that. I'd leave there, shouldn't I? So I want them just to be a bit wishy-washy there. I was just getting that dark in because I noticed that some of my darks weren't actually dark enough. And it keeps drying too light. I thought I was going in with pen at this stage, but when I was looking at it, I had to wait for everything to recharge. My camera needed recharging. So I went for a walk in the garden. Went down to the pond. Sat on a tree stump looking out at the pond. There's a lot of frog activity going on at the moment. Apparently it's breeding time. I was looking out, watching all the bubbles and the jumping around that was going out in the middle. Just had a bit of 5 minutes in the sunshine, which is unusual. It's been a bit of a tough winter, this one, with so much rain. This is the white that comes in with the watercolour, and it is really a gouache. Otherwise it wouldn't work as white. Sometimes I like it and sometimes it doesn't do what I want it to do. And then I give in and go to a tube of acrylic. But we'll see. We'll start soft and see how we go. So I'm just going to put a little bit. I'm not going really strong, but just in those highlight areas or the lighter areas on the iris. I want to just kind of get a little bit of highlight areas just that side of the nose as well. Okay, let's just go for this flower. If I lift it up, you can see, can't you? I'm not going to, I'm going a bit scribbly because I always do. If you do something, you might not want to scribble it like I do. It's just style. It's really hard about this one, isn't it? This flower. Oh, it's these bits that I was trying to get into. Get the leaves done, and then we can see where we're going with the dog. And he's patiently there, going to pounce on us. I love it when dogs do that, don't you? When they crouch down and they're going to pounce. My daughter's dog used to do that. He used to chase it around the garden, and then it would pounce around. It puts a smile on your face, doesn't it? I think that's the beauty of dogs. They have just a natural ability to play. Wag the tails. They make you feel. They make you feel welcome when you get there. As well, if you don't actually own the dog, like I don't. But they do make you welcome. Sometimes dogs, they're big dogs though. And I was always they were always trying to sit with me or sit on me. And someone one day said, you know what you do wrong? I said, go on. He said, you give them all the attention. He said, if you just ignore them, they'd go and lie down. Anyway, apparently, yeah, they do. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Again, I'm going to put a few light bits in it Right, let's have a quick look at this dog now. I think the eyes still need a little bit of depth in them, but that's where we're going now. And I think it might just come alive once we're doing a bit of pen work on it. Right, let's try the eye first, I think. Quite a dark patch up here that I've kind of not addressed too much. When you're going over with a pen like this, which I actually love, sometimes your pen might get clogged. It's good to have a bit of paper beside you just to unclog it, because sometimes you just whiz up a little bit of the paint onto the end. It's kind of scribbly, but I've got to be a little bit careful. I just keep going with those hairs in the right direction. I keep wanting to back up on myself, which doesn't help always. Alright, so that pupil now, let's have a quick look in here. Okay, I'm quite happy at the moment with that, but I do need to get a little bit of a bit more white in it. I'm not happy with that colour there actually, but I can soften that in a minute. So this one, I get sidetracked sometimes, so I'm supposed to be doing the eye. Okay, so the pupil here. Let's do the nose before I go into those ears. So I can't very well see this, but I know that quite often the noses have like little circles over them. I just know that from how many dogs I've already painted, so I'm just adding those in. But that, it's quite dark on that front bit because of the shadow. Just going to go into this bit, just drag some of that whiteness as if it's fur coming into a different area. That's quite important. It's supposed to be blurry. It's not really in the focus, but it just needs a little bit of blending. That bit there should have been darker because that is the edge of the ear. Here, so that shaping was just a little bit off as well. I just wanted a few hairlines put in as well, just finer ones. I know I'm going to do some of it with the pen, but it is nice to get the underlying ones in as well. That's better. And again, that little area there, even though it's a bit hazy, it would still go into the green and back into that white. So we'll just add a little bit of suggestion of that. This is the top of his leg there. And again up here, we should do that here as well, shouldn't we? You can see that still. Just kind of, it connects the dog to the background and makes the dog look as though it's in front of the background opposed to part of it. And this bit here, that's why this was white. This is kind of the top end of its tail, I suppose, really, isn't it? At that point, I'll put some white in there in a minute. Let's say all of this is just joining everything together. Before I do it with the pen. And the shaping of that wasn't very good. And it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, it's this dog, and it doesn't matter if it's our dog opposed to the exact one at this point because it's not a commission, it's just for us, for fun. Now let's try and get some of those a little bit redder to go into the top area of that ear. Do the same, take that out. This is where a little bit of a loose stray hair actually just gives it character. This side has to be a little bit shadowy because it's the shape of the nose. Let me just add a few more of the brown markings in as it comes down there. That will automatically give it that shape of going down. I'm varying the mix of the markings because obviously it's different hairs within them. There should be a little bit more shadow across the top of that eye, so it's not quite so round at the top. And the same I think on this side is a little bit less round at that point because of the same reason, it's that shadow. That's better. So anyway where, you know, the hair, like the back of the head goes over onto that white, really some of those little hairs should be a little bit protruding, otherwise it looks flat-haired, and it's not flat-haired, is it? It's a lovely coat. I'm just going to add a little bit into the whites of the eyes, just to whiten that off and just get those lines a little bit more clear. What a good one to finish on the dog. It teaches us so much about things like gratitude. I mean, a dog's just happy with a little treat or a walk, and they're so grateful just for that little bit of a treat. Maybe, sometimes we have to try and find that gratitude too, don't we? And then it meets you with its waggy tail, cheers you up. And they do, don't they? You always know the mood of the dog, or if you talk to the dog and it's lying down, its little tail starts going. I mean, it's just such a lovely animal. So yeah, nice one to finish on, I think. You might find actually if you're watching this after it's been posted for a while, it might not actually be the last one you watch. But for me painting them, this is the last one in the series. You can always go back and look at the series. If you like it, please do like and subscribe, because that's what helps the channel keep moving. I'm going to add a little bit of that into the flowers now, because I just want those to have a little bit of light maybe on them. I think on my Echinacea this is quite spiky really. And let's just do some into the dog's hairs, just where they need to go into the layer of the black. Oh, it's brown, isn't it? Sorry. Just put a couple of light ones in here, but I'm actually going to put quite quickly a layer of the Watercolour on them, because it's just like getting those lighter colours on sometimes when you've already gone dark. I quite often use this technique with my acrylics, but it kind of pops them all into all in acrylics. Right, I need to go into that with a pen, and I feel as though I'm almost there. I just want to go a little bit pen into these ears, into the body. The pen on here is done, and on the flower I'm happy with. And the eye, we probably could just brighten that little spot over in the eyes up. Once I clarify the black in there, the white will shine higher because the black will be against it, which I'll do with the pen. Okay, I decided I didn't like those white bits on the leaves. I'm just going in with a bright, slightly yellow. You're allowed to try things and then go, actually I don't like it, change it. I feel I really want to do a glaze on my eyes. I experimented last week on the cat and I got away with it. I'm just hoping I might get away with it again. I'm just going to put that in before I do the final bits of the black. Right, let's go in with this pen first and I'll come back to those. So these I've already done, so I need to be just a tad aware of that. So the affirmation for this one, I've kind of known it all along actually this time. I think I was always working towards this one. So the affirmation is, hope can grow beside the ache. And that's where we are, isn't it? That we've got so far. The ache is still there. I don't think it will ever go completely. But there's hope for a future where we can exist and we can get on with the future with that hope and that pain and that ache all working together. The layers around it protect it. It's got to that point of going a little crazy with the pen. I'm making that shadow area quite definite up there now. Kind of got a bit of paint stuck in it then. And so you have to watch that sometimes. I was probably doing it too soon actually. So where it's black in the eye, I'm just really just making that more definite. Probably just going to go back in those eyes in a second with a little bit of the darker browny red there, just to get that depth back in where I went over with the wash. Quite happy with them though. Sorry, I had to go quiet because I've learned in the past that you can't sometimes get very detailed and talk. You can't scribble and talk either. I've picked up on that before now. Okay, I think I'm happy. Should we sign it? Once signed, that's it, done. Yeah? I would like to sign with the dog actually, but it's a bit sort of in the middle, isn't it? Let's just put it there. Done.
Just look at it. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? The eyes are following you around no matter what the angle. And, you know, hope can grow beside the ache. And it really can, can't it, when you've got that little dog next to you. It's sad that it's the last in this series for the time being. And there are 4 decks now. You can have a nosy at them on the link below in the description. And there will be more videos. It's just that we're slightly different. If you have enjoyed the videos, you know, go and like and subscribe. Then you'll know when my next ones are out and about and available, and it'll be lovely to have you join me. So yeah, I think that little dog, actually, not just as an affirmation card, as a piece of art, I do A4 ones as well, hung up, it will be that companion, won't it, just following you around. I think I'm going to hang one on my wall as my little dog companion. And now I'm waffling because it's actually fun to waffle sometimes, and I do it a lot.